Hey, what's up everybody, it's your boy Proctor, and today we're gonna be reacting to a suggestion you guys made. This is the Allure of modern dinosaur artwork. I don't know what the fuck this is, so let's check it
A while
out.
back, I made a video analyzing vintage dinosaur movies and books.
Slow down.
I had always liked the atmosphere and tone that they evoked and wanted to deconstruct them so I could really put into words why they have such a powerful allure. However, I anticipated that a lot of people might misinterpret all of this as me being a nostalgically biased fanboy, lamenting that modern dinosaur depictions aren't as good as the ones I grew up on, as if I didn't care about or understand the importance of how new advances in paleontology have allowed for more scientifically accurate dinosaur depictions, so I tried to make it as clear as possible that that wasn't my goal. So what's the point of all this, you ask? Am I trying to say dinosaur books and movies were so much better back in my day and they don't make them like they used to? No. So you can imagine my surprise when I got a lot of comments that were saying that. Here I was thinking that everybody loved the modern stuff and that I was treading on dangerous ground by defending the aesthetic of the old stuff, but it actually turned out to be the other way around. So I figured I should make a follow-up video about the merits of the new look of dinosaurs. First off, I completely understand why there's such a divide between the old and the new. I think both are good, but for very different reasons. The appeal of vintage dinosaur artwork comes mostly from the artistic style, the color schemes, the visual flair, and in the case of movies, the music choices. Modern dinosaur artwork is a different beast entirely.
What the fuck is that?
It's not so much the aesthetic of the art, as there really doesn't seem to be it's not so much
Bruh, this thing looks like it's fucking straight out of a horror movie. Look at it, look at the fucking eyes on this thing.
the aesthetic of the art, as there really doesn't seem to be a consistent tone or style amongst different artists, unlike with vintage dinosaur art. It's more about the details and designs of the creatures themselves. Different people value different qualities in art, so which type of dinosaur art you prefer may depend on which criteria you favor more. To fully appreciate today's dinosaur art, you have to understand the concept of questioning or even challenging the status quo. In the case of paleontology and dinosaur artwork, it involves taking aspects of prehistoric life that are considered facts, deconstructing how scientists came to these conclusions, and perhaps suggesting that these scientists of the past were wrong, and that the truth is something else entirely. In fact, paleontology itself was born out of the rejection of the once accepted truth that extinction was a scientific impossibility.
At the end of the 18th century, a major debate arose as to whether animal species could become extinct. Lamarck, the great founder of evolution, denied it. Thomas Jefferson, our president, wrote an article just before he became president of the United States, arguing that extinction in principle could not occur.
These days, artists are taking the cliches of
I wonder what they base those thoughts on, that extinction could not occur.
pre-existing
Interesting.
dinosaur movies or pictures and making it a point to do something completely different, even the exact opposite. It's not an entirely new concept. In the late 1970s and early 80s, scientists and artists started questioning the long-accepted idea that dinosaurs were sluggish, unintelligent, lizard-like creatures, instead proposing that dinosaurs were warm-blooded, active, sometimes even social animals.
Every generation of scientists has to assume that a lot of what they've been given is right, so you can do something new. And every once in a while, it's healthy to go back and say, well, maybe everything we were taught is wrong. Or maybe if we turn it upside down, it makes more sense. And that's what struck me in the 60s, that if you turned dinosaurs upside down, if instead of being cold-blooded and stupid and slow in the swamps, they were warm-blooded and smart and lively on the land, it started making a lot more sense.
The result was a more vibrant and spirited look for dinosaur artwork, and at the center of it all was Jurassic Park, the first mainstream movie to bring this new version of dinosaur art into public awareness. With its loud, bold, and energetic portrayal of dinosaurs, Jurassic Park embodied the rejection of the established standards of dinosaur art. Now, a generation later, things seem to have come full circle, with Jurassic Park itself being the standard version of dinosaur art, perpetuating cliches that modern artists are trying to fight against.
Now you have become the very thing you swore to destroy.
And what are those cliches? Well, above all else, it's the idea that dinosaurs were hyper-violent, vicious monsters battling each other all the time. There's an unfortunate misconception that this is the only way to make dinosaurs seem interesting. If they're not doing something exciting, people might think of dinosaurs as boring. If they're not doing something violent and gory, people might think of dinosaurs as something for little kids. Modern artists seem to be doing everything they can to prove that idea wrong. Carnivores, from theropods to mosasaurs to saber-toothed cats, creatures that seem to have been exclusively depicted as snarling, bloodthirsty monsters, are now being shown doing peaceful things like resting, caring for their babies, or getting cleaned of parasites by smaller creatures. At the same time, herbivores like the small ornithopods and large hadrosaurs, which have long been pigeonholed into being either boring background characters or fodder for the more exciting carnivores to tear into, are now being shown to be interesting in their own right, doing
What the fuck is going on in here? Is it pissing? Is it shitting? It had too many tacos? What is going on?
right, doing things like molting or playing or supplementing their diet with the occasional bit of meat. And that's just the beginning. A lot of cliches in dinosaur movies and pictures are being challenged these days, ones that I had never even considered until these artists brought them up. For example, have you ever noticed how dinosaurs are almost always illustrated with the outline of the bones visible through the skin? That's rarely the case with modern animals, unless they're starving to death. They should have more muscle and body fat packed onto them.
That's true.
Have you ever noticed how dinosaurs always seem to be in perfect physical health? Modern animals sometimes have scars from previous fights, parasites clinging to their bodies, or even mutations. The same should be true of extinct animals. There's also a lot more emphasis on sparsely known and underrepresented species, like the evolutionary dead ends of the Triassic period, or the bizarre varieties of prehistoric sea creatures. There's even a niche for speculative organisms, creatures that
What the fuck is that? That kind of looks like a Devil Joe from Monster Hunter, if anyone knows what I mean. It kind of looks like that with a horn.
For speculative organisms, creatures that plausibly could have evolved, but don't show up in the fossil record. Amazingly...
Y'all know how they say chicken legs? Yeah, you can tell this chicken legs. Look at them fucking muscles, bro. Good job, my guy. Leg day every day.
Could have evolved, but don't show up in the fossil record. Amazingly, some of these predictions in artwork have come true, as scientists discover the remains of animals that fit the description of these made-up creatures. This kind of stuff is interesting. In my opinion, far more so than scenes of dinosaurs just trying to kill each other. When it comes to setting a scene, these artists take inspiration.
Why does this look so cute? Look at this.
When it comes to setting a scene, these artists take inspiration from modern animals and the behaviors they exhibit, especially the bizarre, poorly known behaviors of certain creatures. For example, you have this picture by Raven Amos, in which a male Gorgosaurus tries to impress a female by setting up an intricate display of objects like bones, which isn't too far off from what some modern animals do to attract mates. Japanese pufferfish create wave-like ripples in the underwater sand. Bowerbirds build structures out of sticks and plants, and then surround them with brightly colored berries and flowers. Another example is this picture by John Conway where a few protoceratops climb a tree. Protoceratops are not known to be tree-dwelling creatures, and in fact their bodies aren't designed for it at all, but the same is true of goats, which climb trees a lot surprisingly. Another staple of modern dinosaur artwork is taking inspiration from modern animals in terms of anatomy. The traditional way to reconstruct live dinosaurs has always been to take the skeleton and simply outline it with skin. It makes sense in theory, but in reality, many, if not most animals, look nothing like their skeletal counterparts.
True.
Live animals sometimes have huge amounts of fur or feathers and lumps of flesh attached to their faces and their bodies and all sorts of other features that you wouldn't know about by simply looking at the bones. Modern artists try to apply this logic to dinosaurs and other prehistoric creatures. like in this picture by Brian Ain of a sauropod with a bulbous nose and a rooster-like waddle, or the Gigantoraptor from Dinosaur Revolution with its Tragopan-like facial structures. This is actually something Jurassic Park managed to do before it became popular, adding a lizard-like frill to its signature Dilophosaurus. However, nothing embodies the modern era of dinosaur art more than one simple idea: feathered dinosaurs. It seems to be the deciding factor that splits audiences. As I explained in my video about why dinosaurs are popular, people are excited by the idea of dangerous monsters. It's a huge part of why dinosaurs have such a wide appeal. Scaly dinosaurs make us think of reptiles, which are generally thought of as creepy, threatening, alien-like creatures. Scales feel rough, unfamiliar, unnerving. Sometimes to make their dinosaurs seem even scarier, artists add spikes onto them, because the sight of sharp objects scares us on a subconscious level. People like scaly dinosaurs because of our preconceived notions about reptiles. On the other hand, feathered dinosaurs make us think of birds, which are generally thought of as timid, friendly, a minor nuisance at worst.
A minor? Excuse me? A minor nuisance? Fuck seagulls, they should all die. Build a wall for
at worst. Feathers themselves are soft to the touch, rounded, not pointed. And we don't want our dinosaurs to look like that. We want them to be scaly and reptilian and fierce-looking. Barring the factual evidence that many dinosaurs did have feathers, personally, I really like the concept of bird-like dinosaurs. It opens up a whole new realm of possibilities for what dinosaurs could have looked like. There are some birds out there with unbelievably strange and visually intriguing feather arrangements, and the idea of adding those kinds of looks onto dinosaurs honestly seems to me like an awesome combination.
I see this as an absolute win.
I don't really need my dinosaurs to look scary, and even so, when you look past the peaceful stereotypes surrounding birds, there's plenty of graphic and disturbing things that birds have been known to do. Pelicans swallowing live pigeons, eagles killing large prey by dragging them off of cliffs. So no, I don't see adding feathers to dinosaurs as any kind of hindrance. The main thing I love about today's dinosaur art is also probably the hardest part to defend. With all these bizarre combinations of feathers, external organs, and theoretical behavior, dinosaurs have, in many cases, become completely unrecognizable. When I was a kid, this is what Spinosaurus looked like. No matter what movie, book, or toy store you looked in, it was just commonly accepted that Spinosaurus meant this. Now, Spinosaurus imagery ranges anywhere from this to this to this. Even though serious artists generally try to be as scientifically plausible as they can, there seems to be a growing acceptance for crazy and fantastical dinosaur depictions. Seeing all of these bizarre versions of familiar dinosaurs is something I find surprisingly refreshing. It seems like every day there's a new take on a familiar aspect of prehistoric life being represented in art. I get that subverting expectations has become a tired meme at this point, and a lot of people probably think that artists are just adding weird features to dinosaurs for the sake of being weird, regardless of scientific accuracy, and I certainly agree in some cases, but in the same way that inaccuracies don't bother me in old dinosaur art because it's the atmosphere and tone that really draws me in, the ideas presented in these new dinosaur artworks is where my appreciation of them comes from the most. Pictures like this don't just present you with an image to look at. They invite you to personally look into the aspects of the animal kingdom that inspired the artist. They challenge you to rethink the way you view prehistoric life, perhaps even come up with some theories of your own. It's an immersive experience that goes far beyond just looking at pictures. The way I see it, this is a great time to be alive for someone who loves dinosaurs, as we seem to be entering a new era in the world.
That's why.
Be alive for someone who loves dinosaurs, as we seem to be entering a new era in the world of prehistoric imagery. It is worth pointing out that, inevitably, today's dinosaur depictions will become outdated and probably end up being looked at the same way we
Yo, my boy, I'm sorry, but that face is not a face a mother can love, my guy.
We look at dinosaur movies and books from the 1980s or earlier. Who knows what the future could hold for dinosaur art?
This video was pretty fucking awesome. I enjoyed this a lot. I mean, I'm not that into fucking dinosaurs. I'm gonna be honest. I mean, I find dinosaurs kind of interesting, but I'm not really that into them that much. I prefer normal animals from now at time that we know more about. But it's still interesting listening to someone that knows a lot about a subject and is very interested about a subject talk about that subject. I find that very intriguing. You know what I mean? So yeah, this was a pretty cool video. I enjoyed this. Anyway, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time, buddy. Let me know what y'all think about this.